Uprising? They should have called it Resurgence. What's happening, film nerds? Dave the Film Junkie here, bringing you a film review of Pacific Rim Uprising. And Pacific Rim Uprising is the sequel, of course, to Pacific Rim, Del Toro's monster kaiju and robot Jaeger stuff, just battling out. I'm a fan of that movie, by the way. Beautiful movie. And it stars John Boyega, Scott Eastwood, some other people, and this time it's directed by Stephen S. D. Knight. Okay, and apparently this is his first movie. He's done TV, and let me give you a sense of how fast this guy works. This is how fast that they would explain things in the movie. I'm going to explain the plot right now like I usually do in my reviews, but I'm going to do it as fast as this guy likes to move through plot points and pretty much everything. 10 years later, son of Idris Elba, bigger, better Jaegers, the kaiju's back, but with a twist. Well, there you go. So what did I think of Pacific Rim Uprising? The studio just really wanted to turn this into the next Transformers franchise. They really did. They took Transformers, they took the basis of Pacific Rim, took, the mythology, the cool shit that was established by Guillermo del Toro in the first one, the history that he created. They started to throw that, they kind of gutted that out and said, here's some Transformers, and I shit you not, here's some Independence Day Resurgence. And my little spiel about how fast they move through plot points, it really does. Everything is bam, 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 bam. They don't let anything just breathe at all. Everything's just like next, and it's wow. I mean, it goes from you see in John Boyega's character like how his life is, and then it's just like bam, bam, you're arrested, bam, you're back, you're bam, 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 you're in the Jaeger. It was just it was nuts how quickly everything moved along. Which I guess nowadays people short attention spans. That works. So let's talk about what does work first. John Boyega does work. He's very charismatic. He's a good lead. He's witty and stuff. Although the dialogue when it's time for jokes to come out, they don't land all the time. I would say they land probably about 35% of the time. Other than that, they're no. Special effects are good. The fights are good. Obviously you could tell by the trailers that the fighting looks pretty damn good, and it does. For some reason though, it doesn't look as crisp as it did in the first one. Maybe because Del Toro is such a he's so detailed and stuff. And I remember seeing that in 3D. I didn't see this one in 3D, but I saw that one in 3D, and I was very impressed by it. The fights look really good, especially at night with all the colors and everything like that. Just really popped. But this one, yeah, same thing. But you know what? I have to say this right off the bat. If people are still outraged, or, especially back when Man of Steel came out because of all the casualties and buildings falling down, oh my god, so many people died, they better be fucking livid after watching this movie. They didn't give a fuck about anything about that. They didn't. You don't hear about anything. You don't hear about the city, I think it's in Hong Kong or Tokyo that the big battles take place in. You don't hear anything about evacuations or nothing. You see people running, but they, like the Jaegers, the good guys, literally will use cars and buildings to try to throw it at the fucking kaiju monsters. And you assume people are in there, but you just gotta throw that out. Gotta throw that out. So that's fine. I can remove that from my brain. But let's talk about the bad. I swear, Scott Eastwood, his dad is Clint Eastwood, a guy that kind of, he talks pretty deep, he's pretty menacing. And he looks like Clint Eastwood. He looks like his dad. But I swear, there should be a competition between him and David Beckham on like who looks more like they'd have a deep voice. When they open their mouth, they sound like what Deadpool says, that they had mouth sex. A helium balloon. And he's just not good in here either. It sucks because Boyega's good, but the chemistry between him and Eastwood isn't. There's just not good chemistry here. And like I said, they're supposed to be the pilots and, the drifting and everything. And speaking of the drifting, like I said, they just threw everything, the mythology of the drifting of the kaiju monsters, they kind of just threw all that out. It seemed like anybody could drift with anybody. They didn't really go in deep with that with the first one. And I like that about the first one. I like the little mythology of this whole thing. And, I'm not saying the first one was perfect, but I really enjoyed that aspect of it, the building up of stuff and how people had to be connected. They could pretty much just throw that out and say, like, here, anybody can operate these machines, so here you go. And anybody can, because it's just, like, 2 adults and the rest are teenagers, okay? That's just where the Transformers part comes in. It gets a little Disney Channel at times, and I'm going, oh my god, you got the little young girl who's, like, I don't know, 14, 15 years old. Of course, she's, like, She's an orphan, but she knows mechanically how to do everything. She just can do it. Oh yeah, I can just add blah, blah, blah. And then there's another team of teenagers in here, and it's just, oh man, it's just totally Del Toro was trying to get a sequel made for the longest time, and they said no, we're not going to do it. Even though it did really well, it did really well overseas, but it got beaten out here by Grown Ups 2. Not Grown Ups 1, Grown Ups 2. So he decides to go make an Academy Award-winning movie, which, good job. I'm glad he did. I'm glad he's got that, because he's not promoting this movie, guys. I guarantee you, every time he pitched it, they turned it down, and then they just took his fucking idea, his world that he created, and just shit all over it. They shit all over it. They turned it into, like I said, Transformers, an Independence Day resurgence, and don't even get me started on what they did with Charlie Day. They do a thing with his character. I'm not going to give any spoilers. You do something with a plot twist, and there's something very interesting in here. There's good story points, good plot points, and a good story twist, but the execution is done so poorly that I couldn't get around it. And and they actually mentioned why the kaiju monsters wanted to be here and everything, which I was like, cool. You didn't really get that in the first one, but it's just executed so poorly, and oh man, I was cringing. This is a big miss for me, guys. I mean, I think this is catering to teenagers with short attention spans, because, like I said, everything's so bam, bam, bam. And like I said, most of the pilots are teenagers. So, not for me. If you're a big fan of the first one, you're probably going to be big time disappointed in this one, because I was a fan. I'm a fan of the first one. I really enjoyed the first one. Was a fan, and this one just they don't do it justice. I mean, it's sad. I mean, Del Toro is not promoting it, and there's a reason, because they took his idea, his world, and they shit all over it. In my opinion, they shit all over it. They took a lot of it out, the mythology, the mystery, and everything. They took it all out. They took it all out to try to make this into a brand, because, oh my God, they try to make it, they of course set it up for a sequel badly. They do, I mean, Independence Day resurgence. Oh God! I grabbed my jacket and walked out when the last line was belted out. That was setting up the sequel, and I'm like, no, get out of here. So not for me, guys. But if you want to just turn your brain off and watch some robots and monsters kick ass in a city full of people that don't exist, then go watch it. Go watch it. Like I said, the fighting and the visual effects are good, but everything else not so much. Not in my eyes. So there you go, guys. That is my review. Let me know what you thought about the movie down below. If you saw it, hit that like, thumbs up button if you'd be so kind. Subscribe to my channel. Visit filmjunkie.com for all my content. I'm telling you, this movie exhausted me, just like Transformers last night. That sounded weird. The last night. That exhausted me too. It's not as bad as Transformers, don't get me wrong, especially the last two, but it's heading there. It's heading there if they keep going in this direction, that's for damn sure. Just let Del Toro actually do, and it's not going to happen. Anyways, guys, visit the closet for shirts and stickers. All right, talk to you later.